Okay, we talk a lot about the evolving economy. As the economic times change, consumer tastes also can change, and that's something that the restaurant industry has to watch very closely. Canada's 100 Best is a magazine that ranks Canada's top 100 restaurants and bars. For more on the trends and some of the issues the industry is navigating, let's bring in Jacob Richler. He's the editor-in-chief and publisher of Canada's 100 Best. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So what's kind of the overarching theme that is dictating who makes this list? I mean, does the economy itself really factor into some of the flavor here?
It factors in. I mean, first, just to go into the mechanics of the list briefly, you have a panel of judges across the country, 150 of them, spread out, and they vote on their best dining experiences of the previous year. And they're free to vote for any kind of dining experience whatsoever.
And what are some of the things that were really resonating with these judges?
Well, I asked them to vote primarily for quality of food, so that is what's consistent. That's what's improved over the years. That's what I think really exciting right now, especially what the restaurant industry has been through. The quality is exceptional, but the white tablecloth sort of restaurants are falling off a little bit.
And so I guess even if we're talking about the highest end restaurants, where maybe there's a little less, exposure to, if the economy dips a little bit, but at the end of the day, the driving factor for a lot of these judges based on customers is if it's a great meal,
yes,
I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll vote for places of very casual nature if the food is exceptional. So that's the way we want it to be, a mixed list of different cost sort of restaurants where the only uniting factor is food quality.
All right, well, let's go through a few examples. With the top three on the top 10, I see Mon Lapin in Montreal at the top of the list. Can you tell us a little bit more about that one?
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of how food quality is driving people's choices, because that place is convivial, unpretentious, unaffected, casual, absolutely a delight to eat in. The food is very market-driven, a little hard to classify in terms of, whether it's Italian or French or whatever. It doesn't fall into a traditional category that way. It's just uniformly delicious.
Okay. And Edulous in Toronto is another one.
Yes. And again, by all appearances, it's a corner bistro. The food quality, though, is exceptional, Western European focused, very refined and delightful. But the room is casual, no tablecloths again, a casual experience.
What's the deal with no tablecloths?
They appear to be passé, and it's a good area for a restaurant to save cost when food costs are going through the roof.
Interesting.
Something dispensable,
Okay, staying in Toronto, one of the others on the top 10 list, Aloe.
Yeah.
Walk us through the thinking on that one, what the feedback was there.
Yeah, it's an exceptionally refined experience, probably more than any other in the top 10. And the chef was trained with Daniel Boulou in New York, and it really shows. He's wonderfully gifted, Patrick Chris, and it is the most refined, classical, fine dining kind of experience you can have probably in the country.
So excitement over what you're going to eat, but also some of the excitement tied to the experience of what chef's going to have on the menu?
Excitement about international product, no costs, no expense spared in terms of providing a luxury experience.
Okay. Now, you also have some specifics around where you eat.
Yes.
Best destination.
Right.
And Langdon Hall in Cambridge got a big check mark there.
Yes.
What is it about that location that gets people excited?
Anyone who's driven up that winding path and come through the woods and seen that glorious building, that wonderful old house at the end of the path gets a little tremor of being somewhere special, And what we are trying to get at with Best Destination is there are certain restaurants that put little towns on the culinary map as places to go just to eat, and that's one of them.
I would imagine too, in this social media era, people are very curious about where they can go for an exciting.
Absolutely.
And the operators are catching on to that as well?
For sure, definitely.
And then the best new restaurant this year was awarded to a restaurant in Victoria, BC, Marlena, I believe it's called.
Yeah, Marlena. Again, a wonderful chef and a large restaurant group, very important in BC. called Top Table, owned by the Aquilini family. So lots of economic might behind it, but the chef is making a statement there, and it's a big kind of 90s style restaurant statement with a sushi bar on one side and a dining bar on the other and a chef's counter and lots of seats and a wonderful seafood restaurant, which Victoria deserves and didn't previously have.
There you go. Now, this is just a handful of the examples from your list, but for the industry, which is coming back from a really challenging time.
Yes.
And I get the sense for a lot of the operators, and we hear this in the United States as well, there's still a lot of unfinished business, you know,
Absolutely.
especially if you had to navigate through a period where you literally couldn't have your doors open and maybe
Yeah.
you were dealing with some debt. So from your observations, where is the industry right now overall?
Yeah, it's fragile, but what's dazzling is the quality of what those chefs and restaurants are putting on the plate. And we saw it last night at our launch event when we had 10 chefs from around the country cooking for 500 people. The food quality was extraordinary. And so that's fine. Like, our chefs are among the best in the world. The restaurant business is teetering, and there's certain problems are international, you know, staffing and post-COVID shock and that kind of thing. But the weakness of the Canadian currency is just another factor that is really hurting.
We're almost out of time, but does that economic reality influence which products they might cook with too? And is that just part of the creative challenge?
Something has to give, for sure, yeah. But I mean, basics are priced in American currency, so they're...
Can't get away.